And welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own custom floating swamp islands in Minecraft using worldedit and voxelsniper. Now, the blocks we're going to be using today are the clay, mossy cobblestone, andesite, stone, cobblestone, brown terracotta, podzol, coarse dirt, the grass block, a lily pad, water bucket, the blue flower, the cobweb, and the jungle leaves. Now, to start off, we're going to be using the gunpowder for voxelsniper, and we're going to use the brush /B over D1. Then we're going to do /B5 and /V stone. Now, what this is doing is every time we click with the gunpowder now, it's going to have a stone disc with a depth of 1 and a radius of 5 with a voxel of stone. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start by overlaying the general shape of the island. And I'm just going to go for just a slight half moon shape here with 2 peaks on either side. Now, once we have this, we're going to start by lowering our brush size to 3 so that we can get more of a gradual slope up to the top of the build. So we're going to go ahead and do that now with /B3. And this just allows us to add a little bit of a topper to the top of this build. Now once we have these toppers on, we're going to start by smoothing over this whole build. So we're going to do the brush /BE smooth with a brush size of 10 with /B10. Now we're just going to right click all over this build, and then we should be all smoothed out. So now we can go through with our stone and add a just very small topper to this build just to make sure it looks good. Now that we have that one, we're going to go over to the second one and do the same thing. And now it's time to flip this build over so that we can actually get the base of our floating islands in place. So we're going to select a region using /pause 1. And now we are going to fly up to the top corner of the opposite side and do /pause 2. Now, just to fix up the edge of the island with that happened with our smooth brush, we're going to do /replace dirt stone and /replace grass stone. Perfect. Now that we have that all cleaned up, we're going to fly to the center of the build and do /copy, then /set air. Then we're going to look up into the sky and do /flip. And now we're going to do /paste -a. And I'm just going to give myself a night vision effect really quick, just so that you guys don't have to deal with all of these shadows. Oh, right, it's just 1/ not 2, because it's not a world edit command. So I'm going to do effect, my name, 16, because that's night vision, 1 with a bunch of zeros, and 255, and now we should be good for the rest of the video. Sorry, I forgot to put that on earlier. Now it's time to make the shape of the top of this island here. So we're going to select a region that encompasses just the top layer of the stone. So we have to make sure we are on the same level as that just top layer there. So we're going to select our first position here. Now we're going to fly over to the other side on the same y-axis, so we're not going to fly up or down. And we're going to do /pause 2. Now we're going to look up into the sky and do /stack. And now we can start placing in the hills that we want on the top of this island. So we're going to do /B over D1 once again with a brush size of 3 and a voxel of stone. So now we can just right click along the edges of our island here, and it should just give us a nice floating island look. And we're just going to do this all along the edge of the island here. There's really no right way to do this, so it'd be easy to spend way too much time trying to make this look perfect. So just go through and just spam away, and in the end it will look good, trust me. Now once we have this, we are just going to go through and really quickly fill in any 1-block gaps that were made. So once we fill in this area here, we're going to fly around and make sure that any 1-block gaps like this right here are filled in with a stone block, because these will look bad and we just want to overall just even out the whole build. So now that we have this all placed in here, I'm just going to add in a couple more smaller hills on the edges just to kind of match the height that we have made underneath them with these huge peaks. I just think that that looks better. And now we are going to clean up the mess we made down here, because that's just an aftermath of the overlay brush when it's used in the air. There's nothing you can do about that, but it is an easy fix. So now we just select this all into region and set it all to air. And now it's time to start texturing up the base of these islands. So we are going to be using the clay, mossy cobblestone, andesite stone, cobblestone, and the brown terracotta. So let's start out with the clay. We're going to be using the brush command /B space SBMM, and this is a splatter brush, so we need to set our voxel replace and our voxel. So we're going to do /voxel replace /VR stone and /V clay, and we're going to set our brush size to 5. And I'm just going to use the clay around the base of the islands here, and this will just give it just an alternate texture on the base that just makes it just kind of come together as a whole. I like clay because it is a softer texture, and I think it works really well with stone, so that's just what we're going to be using for these islands. Now it's time to start integrating some brown terracotta into the side of the island here to really give it a nice transition from the dirt on the top to the grayscale stone on the bottom. So we're going to do the same command, but we're going to set our voxel to sponge. And we are going to be world editing this sponge to be something else shortly, so don't worry because I know this looks terrible. And we're just going to fly around holding right click down and just spamming it all along the side of the stone here. And once we have this done, we are going to do one more pass with just lowering our angle a little bit so that we get a smaller splatter along the ridge just below all the sponge we have here. Almost done with this here. Perfect. And then we're just going to do one more pass, just lowering the sponge. Now we aren't holding down right click, we are using it a little bit more sparingly, just so we can have a nice just transition where it kind of fades into the stone and not just an abrupt bam, here's all our sponge and here's all our stone. So now we're going to world edit that sponge to be brown terracotta and coarse dirt. So the ID for brown terracotta is 159:12, and the ID for coarse dirt is 3:1. So we're going to do /replace sponge 159:12, 3:1. What did I do? Oh, right. We need to reset our region to encompass the whole thing. So we're gonna fly down here, do /pause 1. Fly up to the other side here, just so we have all of the blocks of this build selected in the same region. And do /pause 2, /replace sponge 159:12, 3:1, and there we go. Now it's time to overlay all the grass on the top of the build, so we are going to do /B over D1, just /B over D1 /B10 /V grass. And now every time we right click with the gunpowder, with the arrow, it does the opposite of the gunpowder. So instead of overlaying the grass on top of all these blocks, it is helping to integrate it into the just ground layer itself. And we're actually, now we are going to do /B space SBMM for the splatter brush once again, and we're going to do /VR grass /V sponge, and we're just going to set our brush size to 3. And we are going to just spam around this whole island here, just to give it an even nicer transition. And then once we have it spammed all over the outside of the island, we are just going to go through and use a little bit of it on the top. And now we are going to place in the podzol and coarse dirt on the top of the grass. So we're going to do /replace sponge 3:1, 3:2. And there we have that. And now we're going to change all of our stone to be mossy cobblestone, andesite stone, and cobblestone. So the IDs for these blocks are 4, 1, 1:5, and 48. And we want the mossy cobblestone to be used the most sparingly. So we're going to do /replace stone with 1, 1:5, 4, 48. And now since that's a lot of mossy cobblestone, we're going to do /replace 48 with 48:1. just to get rid of half of it, and there we go. Now it's time to start placing all of our trees in, so we're going to do /B tree swamp, and now we're going to right click with our gunpowder, or with our arrow, all the way around the build, just to get all these trees in place. Just add one more in the center here. And now we're going to add in some water pockets. So we're going to use the coarse dirt, the water, and the lily pad. And just wherever you see fit in your build, make a small pond because it is a swamp, and swamps do have a lot of just these little pockets of water in them. So I just go through and just by hand make a little crevice in the ground, and then I just fill it all up with water. And you may need to adjust the underground of it so you can make your water all the way even out. And then once we have that, we're going to go through with the lily pads and just add a couple of them in there. That's just a standard trademark of the swamp itself. Then we're going to add one bigger one here, just carving away the dirt and the stone that we want to use. Then we're going to just fill in all of this stone with coarse dirt. You could use worldedit for this, but since it's such a small build, I just do it by hand. I think it just saves some time, and there is something to be said for doing it by hand and not using commands. So now that we have this, we're just going to place our water in all along the edges here, and that should fill it in. There we go. And we're going to add in just a couple more lily pads here. Just make sure they look somewhat random. And for the last one, we're just going to add another just really small one in right here. And perfect. It is important to make sure that all of these ponds are slightly different. That way it doesn't look like you just copy and pasted the same pond over and over again, which I've kind of shown here. Now it's time to add in all of our grass and vegetation. So we're going to use the brush command /b sover cd1 /vi1 /vr0 with /v long underscore grass and /b10. Now every time we right click with our gunpowder, it's going to be spawning in grass all along the build here. So I'm just going to spam gunpowder over it. And now we are going to replace this grass with the blue flower, a fern, and a little bit of jungle leaves. So the ID for the blue flower is 38:1, the ID for the fern is 31:2, and the ID for long grass is 31:1. So you do / replace 31:1 with 31:1 3 times, then 31:2 twice, and 38:1 once. Now that we have that, we're going to go / replace 38:1 with 38:1, 18:3, 31:1. And that'll give us a nice mixture of jungle leaves and the blue flowers in there. And now for the finishing touch of this build, I like to add some vines that droop down the floating islands themselves. I think that just adds a lot of characters to the build that you wouldn't otherwise get. So we're just going to kind of bring these vines all the way down, slowly branching down the build. There is no right way to do this, but I like to alternate between doing 1 block tall leaves and then 2 block tall leaves. I think that's a really easy way to make this vine just look like it's really fitting into the build. And we're going to do the same thing over on this side of the build as well. So we're going to fly over here and then add in some vines that come down here, just throwing in a little bit of variation in the height between a 1 block and 2 block dip. Then once we have this, we are going to slowly loop it up around this side of the build. It is okay to just break away some of the stone if you feel like you need to. There's no harm in doing that. And now once we have it built all the way up here, we are just going to go ahead and bring some of the vines along the underside here just to give a little bit more green to this part of the build to just kind of match it up with the rest of the floating island itself. Now that we have this side done, we're just going to loop it around to the vines down here. Now that we have that, I think that looks really good. So the last step is to now clean up the base of the ground down here. And we are just going to use our axe to select the first position into the grass by left clicking, and then we're going to do / replace 31:1 air and / replace dirt grass. And that was the last step. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to make your own swamp islands in Minecraft. I really like the way these turned out, and I hope you guys did too. I hope you now feel inspired to make some of these for yourself. And yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. So thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video.